Okay, time to look at another respirator that I've recently got, and this is a Polish ML gas mask, so I assume that's Mike Lima. Oh, that is Mike Lima if you're doing it phonetically, no idea what it actually stands for or means. And you'll probably recognise this when I get it out, but it's not exactly what you think it will be, so let me just get this out, it's fairly tight. There we go. So, what does this look like? Everybody will say it's a GP4. So, this isn't actually a GP4, or a GP4U. This is a Polish ML mask, but it's very similar to a GP4. So essentially, as far as I understand, this was the Polish version made in communist Poland in the 50s onwards to issue to civilians, and it was basically the Polish production built version of a GP4 or a GP4U. I'm not sure on all the changes between the GP4 and GP4U, but there's some differences, and I'll get a GP4 out in a bit to compare it to. But straight away the rubber is better than the GP4. It's more like the kind of rubber you get on the GP5s and all the other helmet masks. It's that kind of flexible latex stuff. This is size 1, so no idea if it will fit me. If it does fit me, I'll do a test, but as you probably know, GP4s aren't very good at fitting my face because there's no peripheral seal. But I'm hoping, because it is a GP4 style, or sorry, more like the SHM GP5 rubber kind of masks, that might get around that. So, no Tissot system, just 2 eyepieces, and obviously you can see where the inhale and exhale valves are there. You've got like your stockinette sort of fabric covered hose there. I do not think that is asbestos, because lots of people have asked me, are these old hoses covered in asbestos? But as far as I can tell, this does not look like asbestos, because I have handled asbestos before. But if ever I do get a microscope at some point, I might look at one of these hoses in detail under it. But I'm pretty sure this is kind of like stockinette stuff anyway. And then you've got your Goss screw thread at the bottom of the washer. This comes with one of those old Polish EO14 style filters, but the ones that predate the EO14 design. So I wouldn't use it. I don't know if there's an instruction book in this. I heard some of these come with instruction books, others don't. It's you get lucky and get sent one with an instruction book in, but I don't think this one has an instruction book in, unless it's hidden somewhere else inside the satchel. So anyway, here's the moment of truth. Will it fit on my head, and will it work? So let me fully undo the straps to start with. It has that standard GP4 and the MM1 style straps where you have to pull the straps at the bottom to tighten the mask. All the other straps are kind of just looped through on a weird system. So let me get that as loose as possible first, which isn't the easiest thing to do. These are the semi-elasticated type straps anyway. Almost there. Just want to be careful with things like this because I've ripped masks before. I've been trying to do the straps, on old masks. Now, depending on what sources you look at, this could be a particularly rare mask. I'm not, I have not enough information on this myself to come to a conclusion on that. But basically, from what I understand, these were Polish civil defence masks made from the early 50s up until somewhere in the 60s or something. This one is dated 1969, so they probably went in even maybe into the 70s, but... Okay, so let's see if I can get this on first of all. Let's do the bottom straps up. I hope I can get this off again with it on my face. That'll be a bit worrying. Right, okay. This is definitely slightly too small for my head because my eyes are a bit too high up in it. But, here's the question, will it work? So let's first do a pressure check. Sounds like it's leaking. Maybe it's not. Not sure. Anyway, let me put an FP5 filter on it, and then we'll do a vapor test. There we go, so FP5 filter is screwed on. Let's see if it works. So, standard way of testing this. I'm not going to do an aerosol test today with it. If it works well enough for this, we'll do an aerosol test later. But, let's try it first of all. That all seems good. Okay, now let's test it at the filter end. Well, it all seems good. I think this actually works, unlike when I try and use GP4s, and as I guess it's because it's a bit tight and the rubber's more flexible, so it makes a better face mould. You know, it welds to the face, unlike lots of these masks do. So anyway, there's this one. So what I'll do now is I'll get my GP4, I think I have the GP4U, but as I said, I'm not sure. I'll get that down off the wall and we can have a comparison of the two masks next to each other. Okay, so here's both the GP4 and the Polish ML mask. So as you can see, my Polish one is the smaller size, but that actually might have worked in my favour at making an airtight seal because it was so tight. So both of them look very similar. The Polish one has a metal band around the bottom rather than kind of like some sort of tape. The Polish one's also made obviously of a lighter rubber. As I said, it's more flexible. I don't know if that's necessarily to do with the age of the masks, but if I feel both of these masks, the Polish one definitely feels like a more stretchy kind of latexy rubber, which I think helps with the face seal. The straps are quite similar on both. The harness though is different. The Polish one's got this sort of big green bit for the harness. The GP4 has the cheapened straps. I guess this is the GP4U because it's got the cheaper straps, you know, with no like leather or sort of plastic bit in the middle to make them that better. So the Polish one has a better head harness. Right, if we compare the dates, my Soviet GP4 is from 1968, so this is a fairly late production GP4, considering that obviously the GP4 design was pretty much abandoned when the GP5s were being mass produced in the 60s, but as I've probably gone over before, the Soviets were really big fans of not bothering to retool factories and just continuing making old design as if that was cheaper to do in the long run to keep people employed. And that's 1969 on that one. What is interesting is you can kind of see where the rubber's worn a bit on this one, and that looks just quite interesting, but not much to say about that. As for the exhale valve covers, the valve assembly looks pretty much identical in both of those. The Polish one has more circles on. Both of them have the circle, like the vents are on the outside, but the Polish one has more circles there, so I guess it lets airflow out better. How are the hose lengths? I think they're probably pretty much the same. Yeah, I'm assuming that both the hoses are pretty much identical length here without getting measuring tape out because they always aren't completely folded. And the washer and screws look very similar at the bottom. So yeah, essentially the Polish mask is, I guess, closer to the GP4 than the GP4U. I don't have a GP4, regular GP4 to compare it to because I assume I've got the U here because of the harness. So yeah, basically, in layman's terms, this is a Polish copy of the GP4, I'd guess, but not made exactly as the Soviet one was, but this is the Polish ML mask. As I said, it's not the GP4, this is actually the Polish made one, just as an OM14 or whatever isn't an SHM41, there are minor differences. However, this does work on me, unlike my GP4, so that's interesting. So there we go. Quite an interesting mask. I'm quite chuffed I've got one that actually fits me. Even though it's a bit too small for me, it does fit. I bought this from Beastoree, it wasn't something you sent for me for free. I actually looked on this thing and thought, oh, get that. I think it was only about £12 or £13 for it, wasn't too much. I'll put a link to his eBay page as usual in the description. But yeah, if you like the GP4, then maybe you'll be interested in this mask. It's fairly good for what it is, really. Like I said, no guarantee something like this old's going to work. I wouldn't really advise breathing through the old filter that comes with these. Best to keep those for display. But, you know, it works, and with an FP5 filter you can still thread it on. And obviously, I'm just going to mention FP5 filters again because I've had people saying, you know, oh, it's a real shame you can't get filters that fit GOS masks that still work and are safe. Well, because FP5 filters, we now know, do all that. I'm just going to recommend FP5 filters because obviously they're safe and work. I've done videos on the FP5 before, but I'm just going to, you know, mention it again, because I do keep seeing comments from people, you know, either on my videos or other places, not necessarily where I can reply to them directly, but yeah. So FP5 filters from Poland are safe, and they seem to fit, you know, all the masks I've tried them on so far. So there you go. This was the ML mask, as in Mike Lima, but I don't know what that ML actually stands for. I think most of these are apparently made by Fraser or Phaser, but again, I can't see any factory marks on this, other than it's a size 1, it's got an 11 there, so I assume that's 1169, as in made in November 1969, and I don't know what the 95 is, maybe that was a production run. But there you go. If you're interested in obscure masks that are copies of other masks, then the Polish version of the GP4 is fairly interesting.